What looked like just another social media post quickly turned into one of the hottest conversations in hip-hop after NBA YoungBoy appeared to take a shot at Future, and now everyone is waiting to see what happens next. The timing made the situation impossible to ignore because YoungBoy posted on Instagram the very same night Future released his 10th studio album, instantly fueling non-stop debate across social media. At first, many fans thought it was just another random online moment, but things escalated fast. A public apology suddenly disappeared only hours after it was posted, leaving people with even more questions than answers. Then came another unexpected move that generated even bigger reactions than the original message. Future eventually answered back, and his response immediately became one of the biggest talking points throughout the rap community. But here's where the story gets even more interesting. A lot of people believe YoungBoy's reaction had far more behind it than simply responding to a new album release. The history connecting these two artists stretches back much further than most casual fans realize, and after Future's latest comments, many are wondering if this situation is only getting started. Today, we're breaking down every major development, every important post, and every confirmed fact behind one of the biggest hip-hop stories of 2026. There are still plenty of details happening behind the scenes that most headlines haven't fully explained, and the next chapter could surprise a lot of people. What's good, everybody? Today, we're taking a deep dive into one of the most talked about rivalries dominating the music industry right now. Before we jump into everything, keep one thing in mind. The internet has been flooded with rumors, opinions, and non-stop speculation, but we're focusing on separating verified information from assumptions. This story has far more layers than most people realize, and some of the biggest details have completely flown under the radar. Stay with me because this goes much deeper than it first appears. By the end of this video, you'll understand why the recent back and forth between Future and NBA YoungBoy has captured so much attention. There's a much bigger picture behind all the online noise, and it continues to grow with every passing day. To understand why this situation has become such a massive topic, you first have to understand exactly who Future is and why his influence carries so much weight in today's music industry. Born Naviatus Wilburn in Atlanta, Georgia, Future began his career through his connection to the Dungeon family before building one of the most respected catalogs in modern hip-hop. He didn't just create hit records, he helped redefine the sound of trap music. His signature melodies and emotionally raw approach became the blueprint that inspired an entire generation of artists. From Drake to The Weeknd and countless younger stars, many major names have openly credited Future for shaping both their music and creative direction. His influence isn't just cultural either, because the numbers back up everything people say. Future has collected 11 #1 albums on the Billboard 200, tying him for the third most chart toppers of this century. He has also placed more than 217 songs on the Billboard Hot 100, proving his remarkable consistency over the years. He even performed alongside Tyler during the opening ceremony of the 2026 FIFA World Cup, adding another milestone to his career. In 2024, he joined forces with Metro Boomin for We Don't Trust You and We Still Don't Trust You, and both albums debuted at #1 on the Billboard 200. Through every stage of his career, Future has continued finding ways to stay relevant, release major projects, and remain one of hip-hop's biggest names. He's consistently evolved his sound, refreshed his image, and delivered impactful music without abandoning the style that made him a superstar in the first place. That level of longevity is incredibly rare, and it's exactly why every announcement from Future instantly becomes a major conversation across the music world. Whenever fans rank the greatest Atlanta rappers of this generation, Future's name is guaranteed to be part of the discussion. Ironically, he was celebrating one of the biggest moments of his career when this entire situation began unfolding. On June 25th, he officially announced The Real Me, boldly calling it the album of the century on X, while confirming a July 10th release date. The entire hip-hop community was watching every move, and NBA YoungBoy was paying attention too. On the other side of this headline-making exchange stands NBA YoungBoy. Born Kentrell Gaulden in Baton Rouge, Louisiana, YoungBoy has built one of modern hip-hop's most remarkable careers through a journey that extends far beyond music alone.
Oh my God, I ain't responding to none of them bitch ass niggas no more. Tell them niggas fuck all them bitch ass niggas.
YoungBoy's journey wasn't built on an easy road. He faced serious challenges early in life and was forced to grow up much faster than most people, experiences that eventually became the foundation of both his story and his music. He earned his first Billboard #1 album at only 19 years old. By the age of 21, he was once again sitting at the top of the Billboard 200 while dealing with major legal issues behind the scenes. Even with those obstacles, he never stopped releasing music or was staying connected with his audience. Then, in January 2026, YoungBoy made history by becoming the most RIAA-certified rapper ever, passing Drake, Jay-Z, and Kanye West with an incredible 126 certification plaques. Think about that for a second. He reached that milestone at just 26 years old, making him the youngest artist ever to accomplish it. His Never Broke Again fan base has become one of the most loyal and passionate communities in all of music. His YouTube numbers continue to compete with the biggest names in the industry, and despite not relying heavily on traditional radio or mainstream promotion, he's built an elite career completely on his own terms. By the middle of 2026, YoungBoy had already dropped Slime Cry, a 30-track project featuring collaborations with Jelly Roll and Burna Boy. He also completed the massive Ma Tour, received a pardon that resolved his federal legal matters in Louisiana and Utah, and launched his own production company, 38 Films, to bring his creative vision to the big screen. On paper, everything seemed to be moving in the right direction for Kentrell Gaulden. He was locked in on his career, widely recognized as one of the biggest artists in modern hip-hop, and continuing to release music at an impressive pace. But if you follow this industry long enough, you already know success doesn't stop people from creating new narratives. Before long, the internet shifted its focus to another headline. Many fans believe tension had been building between YoungBoy and Future for quite some time, pointing to moments that happened well before Future's latest album rollout. One of the biggest moments happened on February 8, 2026, when YoungBoy posted a challenge on X that immediately caught the rap world's attention. His message was simple but bold: 15 songs each, loser never raps again. Fans instantly viewed it as a massive statement of confidence in his catalog, and it didn't take long for social media to explode with debates over who could actually accept a challenge like that. No hesitation, no fear, just confidence. Versus TV quickly picked up the post and shared it with his audience, asking one question that immediately got people talking: who would be the perfect Versus opponent for YoungBoy? Within minutes, the internet had an answer for everyone. Gucci Mane's name surfaced, Lil Wayne entered the discussion. Kodak Black was mentioned too, but one artist kept appearing over and over whenever fans compared solo catalogs: Future. Fans and music analysts argued that if you remove guest appearances, collaborations, and joint albums from the equation, Future is one of the very few artists from this generation whose solo catalog is consistently placed in the same conversation as YoungBoy's. That's exactly why the debate became so interesting, because both artists have built resumes that many people believe deserve serious comparison. As the conversation spread across social media, YoungBoy didn't stay quiet for long. He made it clear that, in his opinion, Future wasn't the artist he would put in that discussion. The statement sounded like more than friendly competition. It also reflected just how confident YoungBoy is in his own catalog and where he believes he belongs among today's biggest stars. Future, however, took a completely different approach. He didn't respond on X, didn't react on Instagram, and chose to remain silent. Depending on who you asked, that silence became almost as interesting as the original comments themselves. Some fans believed saying nothing added another layer to the story, while others thought he simply refused to entertain the conversation. To many observers, Future's decision to stay quiet may have actually increased the attention surrounding everything that unfolded once his album release arrived. But to really understand why this story has captured so much attention, you have to step back and look at the bigger picture that hip-hop analysts have been discussing all year. This isn't just about one social media exchange. Many people believe it also represents two completely different paths to success in today's music business. Future's career reflects a more traditional route, backed by major label support, powerful industry relationships, mainstream radio exposure, and years of recognition from some of music's biggest names. YoungBoy, on the other hand, built his empire differently. He relied on relentless consistency, an incredibly loyal fan base, and an internet-first strategy that allowed him to dominate without depending on many of the industry's traditional systems. YoungBoy has repeatedly said he takes pride in building things his own way, while also admitting he sometimes feels his accomplishments don't receive the recognition they deserve across the broader music industry. Through interviews and public posts, YoungBoy has openly discussed feeling like many established artists benefit benefit from stronger industry relationships, while his journey has followed a completely different path. He's also made it clear that he believes the success he's achieved deserves far more respect than it often receives. So when Future announced a new album, boldly calling it the album of the century and instantly grabbing headlines across hip-hop, while YoungBoy had already reached 126 RIAA certification plaques, yet still felt overlooked by parts of the industry, many fans viewed that contrast as a major piece of the conversation. Whether Future intended to send any message toward YoungBoy has never been confirmed, but by the night of July 9th, one thing had become obvious. Months of online conversations had built toward what many fans believed would be a defining moment in this story. But before we get into everything that happened that night, there's something you need to understand about YoungBoy's approach to social media. This wasn't the first time he'd spoken his mind online, and longtime supporters know he has never been the type to hold back when something catches his attention. If a topic gets
Under his skin, he'll often jump on Instagram Live. If he feels like sharing his opinion, he'll usually post it without waiting around. Rather than sitting back and letting the internet debate first, YoungBoy has consistently chosen to react in real time. Over the years, that has created a well-known pattern of direct, emotional, and unfiltered posts. He's called out other artists on Instagram, and he shared his thoughts during live streams watched by millions. There have also been moments where he made a strong statement, then later returned to clarify or rethink what he originally said after having more time to reflect. YoungBoy even spoke about that habit during a conversation on Offset's live stream. Understanding that pattern makes the events of July 10 much easier to understand. Fans who have followed his career for years immediately recognized the familiar sequence once he started posting that night. The real surprise wasn't that he spoke out, it was how quickly everything changed afterward. Here's how it all unfolded. Just before The Real Me officially dropped on the night of July 9th, YoungBoy uploaded an Instagram video that appeared to reference an unnamed rapper releasing an album that same evening. He never mentioned Future by name, and it's important to keep that distinction clear. Still, there was only one major artist releasing a highly anticipated album that night. Because of that timing, fans and media outlets almost instantly connected the message to Future. Hip-hop blogs picked up the story within minutes, and the clip spread across social media, collecting millions of views in only a few hours. Major platforms, including All Hip Hop, Hot 97, and Hot New Hip Hop, covered the post, while carefully noting that the interpretations came from fans rather than confirmed facts. Even so, a large number of viewers believe the comments were directed at Future on one of the biggest release nights of his career. In the video, YoungBoy suggested he didn't believe the album would live up to all the hype surrounding it and encouraged people not to get swept away by the anticipation. Those comments immediately grabbed attention because they arrived at the exact moment Future's album was rolling out worldwide. Whether the timing was completely intentional, an emotional reaction, or a little bit of both is something only YoungBoy truly knows. What can't be denied is that social media exploded with discussion, and hip-hop fans everywhere started waiting to see whether Future would respond. Then came another major twist. On July 10th, after The Real Me officially dropped, YoungBoy joined Offset on Instagram Live, and the conversation quickly became one of the biggest talking points online. Offset approached the situation with maturity and patience. Drawing from his own experiences in the industry and years under the spotlight, he offered advice that many viewers felt was thoughtful and balanced. He encouraged YoungBoy to slow down before reacting publicly. A lot of fans felt that message genuinely reached him. YoungBoy listened more carefully than many people expected. During the live stream, he admitted that something leading up to those events had affected him personally. He acknowledged those emotions influenced what he posted on Instagram the night before, saying he reacted in the heat of the moment instead of taking time to think everything through before posting publicly. He admitted he needed to stop reacting so quickly and give himself more time before responding online. He also thanked Offset for taking the time to speak with him, and then something happened that caught almost everyone watching off guard. With Offset sitting beside him on the live stream, YoungBoy publicly apologized to Future. He explained that he wanted to move on and leave the situation behind. That apology stood out for a very important reason. YoungBoy isn't known for publicly apologizing, especially in front of such a massive live audience. Because of that, many fans viewed the moment as sincere and meaningful. News outlets immediately covered the apology, and for a while it looked like the entire situation might finally be over. Everything had unfolded in less than 24 hours, and it seemed like both sides were ready to move on. But then everything changed again. Later that same day, YoungBoy returned to Instagram and directly tagged Future.
The tone of those new posts was noticeably different from what fans had just witnessed during the conversation with Offset. He uploaded multiple clips, sharing fresh opinions about Future, making comments about his age, questioning how the new album was performing, and making it clear that the earlier apology no longer reflected how he felt at that moment. The calm, reflective attitude he showed during live streams seemed to disappear almost instantly, and that dramatic shift became one of the biggest talking points of the entire story. Surprisingly, it wasn't the original comments or even the apology that grabbed the most attention. Instead, people couldn't stop talking about how quickly everything changed after fans had barely finished processing what had already happened. The same artist who had just admitted he needed to think before reacting returned to social media with a completely different attitude toward Future. That sudden reversal became the part of the story the internet couldn't stop debating. It also sparked a larger discussion about how public statements should be judged when situations evolve so rapidly. As the online buzz slowly began settling down, one question kept surfacing. What did Future actually have to say about all of this? That's where the verified facts become especially important. On July 10, Future kept his attention focused almost entirely on the release of his new album, exactly as many fans expected. The Real Me arrived through Freebands and Epic Records with 22 tracks and no guest features. It marked his first fully solo studio album in 4 years, and Future described it as a project meant to show listeners who he really is, beyond the image people see online. The album also features a song that some listeners interpreted as containing references to Nick Cannon. While those interpretations remain fan opinions rather than confirmed facts, Future's public focus stayed on the music, the album rollout, and introducing his latest project instead of engaging in the growing online back and forth. As for Future giving YoungBoy a direct public response, the facts are actually pretty straightforward. There has been no confirmed interview, no verified social media statement, and no public comment from Future directly addressing the situation. Instead, he let his music do the talking by releasing a 22-track solo album with 0 guest features on the same night YoungBoy questioned whether it would live up to the hype. Rather than jumping into an online back and forth, Future allowed listeners to decide for themselves. Some fans viewed that silence as confidence, while others believed he simply wanted all the attention to remain on the album instead of internet drama. Either way, the project was officially out, and the entire hip-hop community was paying close attention to every move. So why has this become one of the biggest rap conversations of the year? The truth is, there has been no confirmed evidence of any real-life confrontation connected to these events. What has fueled the discussion is everything that happened online. The direct tags, the public apology that shifted only hours later, and the non-stop social media activity between two artists with massive fan bases kept the story alive across every major platform. Hip-hop has always produced unforgettable moments that begin online before growing into something much bigger. Whenever artists with this level of influence continue sharing their thoughts publicly while millions of supporters debate every move, curiosity naturally takes over. That's exactly why this has remained one of the most closely watched stories in rap. The repeated comments, the references to Future's age, and the conversation continuing even after a public apology made
Many fans feel this had grown beyond ordinary competitive talk. What really surprised people was watching YoungBoy first say he wanted to move on before returning online with a completely different attitude only hours later. He publicly apologized, then later that same day returned to social media with a completely different message. That sudden shift became the biggest talking point of the entire situation. As new updates continued appearing, fans became even more invested in seeing where everything would go next. In hip-hop, stories like this always generate huge attention, especially when events unfold at lightning speed. Another thing that caught people by surprise was just how fast the story spread across the internet. Within only a few hours of YoungBoy's original post, the clip was already dominating conversations almost everywhere. YouTube channels, podcasts, blogs, Instagram pages, X threads, and countless other platforms all started breaking down the situation from different angles. Some reports covered the comments without mentioning that Future had never actually been named directly. Others focused almost entirely on the public apology while leaving out everything that happened afterward. Some highlighted the later Instagram posts but barely discussed the conversation YoungBoy had with Offset earlier that day. As we've seen time and time again, stories that move this quickly often spread much faster than the full timeline can be explained. That's simply how the internet works in 2026. A public apology creates headlines. A complete change of direction only hours later creates even bigger ones. When one story includes the original comments, a public apology, and another unexpected update all within the same day, it's easy to understand why millions of people kept following every new development. That's the environment this entire story unfolded in from the very beginning. For longtime hip-hop fans, the bigger picture is pretty easy to recognize. Competition has always been woven into the culture, from the legendary rap battles in the South Bronx during the late 1970s to the East Coast versus West Coast era of the 1990s, and now today's non-stop social media era that keeps fans engaged around the clock. Hip-hop has always been fueled by creativity, ambition, and artists pushing each other to reach another level. Some of the greatest rivalries have inspired unforgettable music from everyone involved. Jay-Z and Nas gave fans classic projects like The Blueprint and God's Son during one of rap's most iconic competitive eras. Drake and Pusha T also became the center of one of the most talked about rivalries in modern hip-hop history. Healthy competition has often pushed artists to create some of their best work, but once those conversations become public and personal, they naturally attract even more attention. And that's exactly what many fans believe they've been witnessing throughout this entire Future and NBA YoungBoy situation. One thing that makes this situation feel completely different from many of hip-hop's classic rivalries is the speed at which everything happened. Instead of carefully crafted diss records giving fans days to dissect every lyric, the entire story unfolded through Instagram stories, phone-recorded videos, and rapid-fire social media posts that spread across the internet almost instantly. People weren't waiting for albums or interviews. They were refreshing their timelines every few minutes to catch the next update. That non-stop pace is a huge reason this story exploded the way it did, and it also made it incredibly difficult for many fans to keep track of every twist as it happened. At the heart of this story are two artists whose names carry enormous weight. Future isn't just another rapper caught up in online headlines. He's one of the most influential figures of the modern hip-hop era. Whenever his name becomes attached to a major conversation, the entire music world pays attention almost immediately. As one of the architects of today's Atlanta trap sound, his influence has shaped countless artists and helped define an entire generation of rap.
Music. YoungBoy, meanwhile, has carved out a lane that's completely his own. His independent mindset, incredibly loyal fan base, and remarkable accomplishments have made him one of the biggest stars in hip-hop, even though many supporters believe his success hasn't always received the same level of recognition from the music industry as some of his peers. When two artists with such different career paths become part of the same headline, people naturally want to know what's really happening. The discussion quickly grows beyond a simple exchange of opinions. It raises much bigger questions about what success actually means in today's music industry, how artists earn respect, and whether chart positions alone can truly measure someone's long-term influence. It also shines a spotlight on an ongoing debate about whether independence, consistency, and a dedicated fan base are enough to build a lasting legacy, or if traditional industry backing still plays a major role in determining who receives the most recognition. YoungBoy has openly said he believes his accomplishments deserve more respect, while Future's continued success and his decision to avoid publicly engaging in the back and forth has led many fans to view him as representing a completely different approach to building and sustaining a career in music. Now, the biggest question is simple. Where does this story go from here? Future has just released the biggest solo project of his recent career, delivering a 22-track album without a single guest feature. He described it as one of his most personal projects yet, giving fans a deeper look into who he is as an artist. The fact that it arrived on the same night YoungBoy questioned how the album might be received only added even more attention to an already viral conversation. That timing wasn't something fans ignored. YoungBoy chose one of the biggest nights of Future's recent career to share his thoughts, while Future stayed focused on the music instead of publicly responding to everything happening online. Some fans see that silence as a power move, while others believe Future simply wanted the album to speak for itself. Meanwhile, YoungBoy showed everyone just how quickly public messaging can change in the social media era.
Fans watched the conversation go from strong criticism to a public apology, then back to another round of Instagram posts in what felt like the blink of an eye. Longtime followers have seen similar moments before, but many believe this one attracted even more attention because both artists have massive fan bases and the entire situation unfolded during such an important album release. Right now, hip-hop fans are watching closely for whatever happens next. Whether Future eventually decides to address everything publicly, whether YoungBoy posts another update, or whether the conversation slowly fades away like so many viral stories before it. Only time will provide those answers. What we do know is that this story is still unfolding, and fans remain locked in for every new development. Now, I want to hear from you. Do you think Future will eventually break his silence, or will he continue letting the music speak for him? If you enjoyed this breakdown, don't forget to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications so you never miss future uploads. We've got plenty more celebrity news, hip-hop drama, and in-depth industry breakdowns coming your way, so stay tuned because the next story might be even bigger.